Well, hello again. As I told you before, we started working with Biosa since 8 years ago. We've been focusing more in the human side, but we're not lifting behind the Biosa side. So we basically we sell Biosa in 8 departments, we have 32 departments in Colombia. We're currently working in 8, so we have a lot of work to do throughout the country. Cali is located in Valle del Cauca. It's called the Cauca Valley. You have a big river going through the valley. We mainly we started working with sugarcane mills. We're the biggest producer in Colombia and probably, well, not in Latin America because we have Brazil producing a lot of sugarcane, but probably the second largest producer in the whole America, even in the whole world. We have all the sugar mill cane companies located in the Cauca Valley. We probably have 15 of them, and we're currently working with 6 of them. The experience with Biosa was that when Maria Paulina knew about the product in Canada, they brought it from Canada, but they didn't know what to do with it. And one day they opened the newspaper, and it was this sugar mill company called Mayagüez. And it was the big heading on the newspaper saying, Mayagüez will shut down its operations because of odor problems. And it's near this little town, and people from the town were complaining about the smell coming from the composting area. And they tried everything for a period of 4 years, and they couldn't do anything about it. So my father read this, and he said, I have this product that is supposed to be really good for controlling the smell. They have never tried it before, but he said, well, you know, let's go and try it. So he put in his bag like a 20-liter of Biosa with water, and he went and, you know, knocked on the door of the company owner and said, well, I have this product. I'm not going to charge you anything. Just please let me try it. It might help you with your odor problem. And he said, you know, whatever, we're going to be shut down, so whatever you can do, just do it. And they did, and they sprayed, I don't know, probably 100 liters that day. And on the following day, he got a call from the president of the company, and he said, you have a magical product. It doesn't smell anymore. So they didn't have to shut down the company, so that's why we got into the composting business. And at the same time, we started treating the lakes or the water that is in the water lakes that are in these companies as well.
Maria, what is vinases?
Vinases is what is left over of the sugar cane. After you process it, it's like the liquid part. It's like the composting part of the sugar cane. And to be able to treat it, it's really contaminating, so you have to boil it up to like 200 degrees to be able to decompose the Sorry?
It's from a sugar mill or distillery?
That's from the sugar cane itself. Yeah. So this is basically the composting plant. Of course, they have to use really big machines. So we couldn't figure out how to spray the Biosa into these piles. So what they did is they have put a little hose in these machines. So at the back they put the vinases, and at the same time through the other side they spray the Biosa in every pile. We also work with the hotels in oil traps, waste and garbage control. There is a big chain called Estelar chain, and they're located in 12 cities in Colombia. And we're mainly just treating the oil traps that they have in the hotels. as well as the, garbage in, the place where they store the garbage. We just spray the Biosa so they don't get the smell of the garbage. And this is basically what oil traps look like. This was at the beginning when we started the treatment. Do you know what an oil trap is? How an oil trap works? In the kitchen, all the residues of the food and the water and all the food residues will go, they produce grease after a period of time. So what they have to do is they have to have, by regulation, health regulations, you have to build these oil traps on the floor so that you have to treat that before it goes into the water system in the city. So what they used to do is they don't really treat these oil traps. What they do is they just have something like this, and eventually every 3 months, 4 months, they will call a vacuum cleaner. So it's like a big machine comes and sucks up all the oil and just goes somewhere outside the city and just drops it. But it has any kind of treatment. So we're not doing really anything because we're still contaminating the air and the soil and everything. So we saw it as a good opportunity. We didn't really knew if it was going to work or not. But we did some trials, and what we found out is that the microorganisms are really good at eating the grease. They really love the grease, and it cleans up and is really good for the smell control. So this is how we found the trap at the beginning, and we tried to because we said, okay, if we put the Biosa, it will stay on the surface. So what we did is we put like a tube, but we couldn't push the tube down. It was just so thick, it was almost impossible. So we just put it on the surface, and a week later we went there and we tried to put the tube down, and it actually went through. And after 3 weeks of treatment, the trap looked like that. So most of the organic matter was gone, and the liquid, the trap was almost liquid. So we were pretty sure that the water that was going into the city, because it goes into the canals of the city, was at least somewhat treated. At least it wasn't, being any contamination.
What was the dosage like, Maria? How much did you put of?
We basically, in a trap like this, we start with 1 liter per cubic meter. 3 times a week. That's what we do with grease because, it's so thick, and because of the smell, we have to do it. So it's mostly 3 times a week, 1 liter per cubic meter. The waste management, we did this for the city of Cali. I don't know how much garbage we produce in Cali. We are a city of 2.7 million people. And we don't really treat the garbage itself. What we treat and what authorities do is to treat the lixiviate. The lixiviate is whatever comes out from the garbage. It's the liquid part of the garbage. So what they do is that they have trucks picking up all the garbage, and they just pile it up in mountains outside the city, or even inside the city. We have a special place. But they don't do anything with that garbage, so they just expect the garbage to decompose by itself and generate, horrible smells, but they don't treat it. What they treat and what they do is they build these big, pools, and they just wait for the lixiviate from the garbage to come, and they just treat the lixiviate. They don't treat it really well. And it's generating a lot of bad smell and contamination. So what they had to do is, the health authority said, you have to go outside the city. And this is located like 1.5 hours from the city, 1.5 hour drive from the city. And they have to build these 3 or 4 pools, really big, to control this lixiviate. But it didn't solve the problem because, of course, the city of Cali wasn't affected anymore. But the small towns were being affected by this. So they called us and they said, they heard about the microorganisms, and they called us and they said, okay, can you do something for us? So we started treating this lixiviate for a period of 3 months. It was like beautiful because we could control the smell. We could have done a lot with the lixiviate as well, but we didn't have the time because it was only a period of 3 months. And they said, well, okay, thank you very much, it worked. Now we know it works, but we couldn't keep on going because this is a government, like environmental agency, and they said, we just don't have the money anymore. And of course, a lot of people expect you to continue with your work for free, and we couldn't do it. So this is the size of the pool, which is, is pretty big, and we were able to control the smell. We also use Biosa for treatment of the gold fields. In Cali, we have like 3 of them, and we are actually treating 2 of them, especially in the green area, in the potting green area. So what we have found out is that they don't have any more fungus. They don't have to put a lot of pesticides. It's really natural. The greens are always green. They're really beautiful. For animal feed, we use it in horses, pigs, chicken, cows. When we started with the product, maybe 5 years ago, we were really into, going to the government agencies that, have the big farms, the biggest farms, and we started working with them, and it produces like beautiful results. But again, they always want everything for free, so we couldn't do it. We use it for stables and the treatment of slurry. Again, they all traps in restaurants, hotels, bakeries, septic tanks treatment in residential units and clubhouses. So for example, people that live somewhat outside the city, they don't have the proper system of, like the evacuation system of the normal city. So they have to build these septic tanks. So we just treat it like an oil trap. We did some work at the zoo as well for fish legs treatment, to give it to the animals in the zoo to clean, to maintain the whole area of the zoo free of a smell. Up north, there is a department, a region called CESAR, and we work with a big African palm producer. They are using Biosa for composting as well, for wastewater treatment, and for cattle treatment. We have a big fishery company at the south of Colombia, and he also works with tilapia. And he has around 8 hectares of tilapia. And he used to work with EM. And my father once, he was flying and he saw this big area of lakes, and he said, oh, I have to go down and ask who this guy is. So he landed and he actually asked, okay, I saw on the plane these fish and lakes, I want to know the guy. And he met the guy. He just went there and he said, I have a beautiful product for your lakes, please let me try it. And he said, well, I'm working with EM, I'm fine with it. He said, just do some trials. And the guy now uses Biosa, he doesn't use his EM anymore. At the north part as well, we work with an oil company, and they're using it for wastewater treatment.
Maria, what was the difference between the EM and Biosa? What was the reason?
Well, the reason was because we were talking about this yesterday, and in the activation process, they couldn't get it right. They were saying always that they couldn't lower, or they couldn't get the pH down to 3.5, and the lowest they could go, it was to 5.5. And they have, sorry? And they didn't have a technical support, so they just asked for the product, and they didn't have like anybody to call to and say, I have a problem with the product, or if they have any questions, they didn't know who to call. So they would just call someone and say, can you please send me the product? Or they were supposed to send a product every month, and sometimes for 3 months they couldn't get hold of anybody to get product from. So, but we're on top of them all the time, and we're calling them all the time, and we send the only technician that we have once every 3 months to go and see him, and we call him every week. So for him, it's a lot of attention, and he really likes that. So that's why he's working with us. There are the presentations that we have today. We're selling 1 liter presentation, the 5 liter one, and a 20 liter one. So there is the ones that we have today. We probably, now that we have heard everything about, all from agriculture and probably from you as well, we really want to go into agriculture. We're a really big green country, and we grow a lot of stuff. It's just we haven't had the time, or we need more energy to do it. So as in retribution for your our presentation for the human health, and do you want to go to the human health now? Now it's the other way around. We really want to go into the agriculture side. So it will be, it's been great to hear all the experiences, and now we have the impulse to go into the agriculture business. Thank you.